All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to On the Count podcast. And hey, I got a little special today. I am traveling, so I'm in Puerto Rico, coming live to you. So that is where I'm currently at, having a great time. But I have Keone Stevens with us today, and we also are waiting and bringing in our guest here in a few minutes, who is Big James Henderson. So we are looking forward to talking to Big James. He got a great story to tell about what he's done. What is he doing right now is what we really want to get into, but I also want to know what he did before he did some time in prison. We're going to talk about that as well. But we have several things we are going to cover today in the show. And I really want to know more about this gentleman and everything he's doing in the community. He's doing some really, really good stuff. Keone knows him. Tell me a little bit more about him, Keone.
Well, he's here and ready to come on. I just want to first say thank everybody for supporting the channel and especially this show On the Count. We've had some great guests from Harold Ford to Mark Jones to Malcolm, who served our last guest, who served almost 22 years in federal prison, had a lot of positive things to talk about. And the journey is what we really want to talk about, how they got where they were and how they turned their lives around, because that's the inspirational story. Again, I'll always say we have to not look at everybody who serves time as jail. It's just some cast off and they're damaged forever, because it's supposed to be rehabilitation. So without further ado, let's add our guest, Big James Henderson.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
All right, there he is.
Right. Mm-hmm.
How's it going?
Fantastic, thank you. Fantastic.
You got some sun. You look more. He looks like he's in Puerto Rico as well. Look at the background.
Out in my backyard.
You're in Miami, right, James?
Yeah, Miami, Florida.
Yeah, that's how it looks. I'm from Miami too. So
that's the same. I just got my windows closed and all that, but I got sunlight, and I'm about not even a block from the beach right now. So
I'm right here. I'm right here on the water.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Well, so James, let's get into some stuff. You are known as Big James Henderson and also Hollywood.
Yes, sir.
All right. When I saw that Hollywood, it always comes to me. Why? What was the nick? Where did that nickname come from first?
Well, it was something that I got in college. When playing football. Because my last name is Henderson, and then they had another Thomas Henderson. So in football, they referred to me as Hollywood Henderson. Big James Hollywood Henderson. In weightlifting, powerlifting, and track, everything in the sport. Just because I had the Henderson, they put the Hollywood on top of it. When you have a certain name, sometimes the name describes the personality.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm asking, because Hollywood. Usually they put your Hollywood as a personality name. There's something behind it.
The personality, the exuberant, the vibrancy, where people love you, and you got something to say to everybody that passed by you. There's not one person not approachable. So that's how I was in college and high school and everything else.
So you're a bit of a showman.
Oh yeah, I am. Okay. I'm a show. If you look at my YouTube videos and everything about me, I'm there to put on, I'm there to leave a message,
Mm-hmm. Right.
I want to leave a message some kind or another, I want my presence to count, my presence to count. It's not all about me, it's about what I stand for and who I stand for.
Okay, and we're gonna get to that. I'm definitely gonna get to that. Keone, you got a question?
James, now was that always you, or was that someone you had to become? Because how sometimes
that's always. That personality. Okay. Keone, I gotta tell you, man, that personality. Being exuberant. In school they call it attention deficit disorder. They call it something disturbing the class. Class clown. They call it all that, and because they ain't know what to call it. If they'd have called giving me more work to do or something else, they would like to label you as attention deficit disorder or something wrong with you, right? But I just had that exuberant personality all the way from grade school all the way up. And those that didn't understand, I usually got in trouble and went to the principal's office. Those that understood enjoyed and called me the class clown. Just really according to what atmosphere you're in and how the next person takes you.
Okay, so let's go a little bit farther back. We're gonna. I have you. You grew up in Roxbury.
No, yeah, I was raised and born and raised in Roxbury, Massachusetts. Up there in Boston, Massachusetts, and my mother moved us from Roxbury down to Lake Wales, Florida, when I was about 5 or 6, about 7, 8 years old. But every summer we would go and work on a sharecropper's farm, which was my great grandparents, down in Pine Level, Alabama. We'd go work on that farm because we were trying to own the land. We were trying to own the land in 5 years. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a connection from. I grew up in Springfield, Massachusetts.
All right, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, so
and you made it out.
And I made it out. Yes, I did make it out.
You know what? Hold on, Pedro. What you just said is funny because we have all these stereotypes in the world, and when you think of Northeast or northern states, you don't think of it as hard times. And so when you say stuff like you made it out, I know some people be like, he was in Massachusetts. How bad could it be?
Oh man, it was so racist up there, bro. You thought the South was racist. They use distance to this racism up there. Blacks stay on one side, Hispanics on another. Blacks and Hispanics stay aside together, but they use Hispanic. They use a separation, for racism.
Yeah,
Right in the South, it was just you're black, you're white, who's right, But in the North, it was boom separation,
And you and I are about the same age. Okay, so when I was growing up, I remember my dad going to a store around the corner. This is actually true. That would say that had the store said, no t-shirts not allowed, no dogs, and I know somewhere in the bottom said no Puerto Ricans.
Yeah,
Dad will go in the store because everybody thought he was Polish.
Right.
They never. They really did. Everybody in the neighborhood, my neighborhood was Polish, and they always thought he was Polish, so they never questioned it. But it was there. I would never forget that. I was like, Dad, he said, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember that. So growing up, you moved down to Florida.
Florida, right? My father's family, they were into drugs, and my father was a pimp, in New England. You may think the word pimp is a bad thing in the South, but that was actually the occupation up in New England. My father was a pimp. His brothers, same thing. So when my father died, when I was about 2 years old, my mom took me from Boston and moved us down to Lake Wales, where she thought we'd get a more wholesome atmosphere. And so she gave me my grandfather's last name, and everything, tried to change my whole identity, because she didn't want me to be on the same track as my father.
Okay, so tell me about school. You say you were, overactive, ADD. Tell me about that.
Well,
this is what we do because we
in school
feel very long.
In school, I went to Nathan Hale Elementary and different schools in Boston. Then when I came to Florida, it was more like a like Lake Wales area, Polk County area. We moved to a place called Babson Park, and they happened to have one of the greatest schools for kids that had speech problems. And I had a speech impediment where I used my S's. So it's Babson Park Nats, that school. So went there and they taught me how to talk, and I got this was more of a white community. The special things were there, like computers and and different programs, you know, that you go to. So that was a fortunate move in there. And remember, my mom, she got a job working in a nursery because that's a fruit picking area. But then from the nursery, she went to work at the hospital as a dietitian, and then after that, she went to be a sheriff at the sheriff's department. And
Oh,
she was there for like about 23 years. You know, she was a captain of the sheriff's department.
wow.
First black woman captain in Polk County, Florida. They got like Mary Campbell Street, Mary Campbell Way, Mary Campbell Community Center. That was my mom, right?
Wow.
So she was like an icon there that came from the north with that exuberant energy to lead people, direct people, make the right choices. She believed you raise a boy, you change the community. You know, if you can train up a boy, you can train up a community. And then it's all about the power of choice. All about the power of choice.
Yeah, I think that's one. We've discussed this before because that's one thing that education and empowerment is so important, and it lacks so much in the community, and it takes away from the growth and making kids grow up in I don't know, it's just a better environment when you start doing that for everybody and everybody comes together.
You know, Pedro, the greatest thing you just said right now is that it's all about empowering. And when you stop people from being victims, they become overcomers. And when you let each person know they have a power in their choice, and their choice counts, then that empowers them individuals to make the choices and not just accept the status quo or accept what society gives out. So if you can use your power of choice, that stops you from being victimized right there. It gives you what they call, a choice in the situation. And that's what I go to schools, prisons, juvenile homes, and do now, and tell these young people, hey, there's power in your choice. Your choice counts. And if your choice counts, and your choice is worth the effort. God made you a chooser and not a loser. You know? And that's what I go around schools and everything now. I don't go, oh, you don't have no daddy home. Oh, you don't have no mommy home. Let's call Oprah or Dr. Phil. No. You have been dealt the hand that you need to play. So you turn your pain into power. You turn your power into success. And you use your power of choice.
See, and for those of you who got the card reference, what James is saying, y'all out here trying to play poker. You got a bad hand, you trying to wait to get some more cards. James is over here playing spades. These are the cards I got. I'm not getting any new ones.
No. That's right. What if you went bored every time you got a card of spades, right? You went bored, I'm going bored. You'll never win. What if you take a chance and that 10 may make a book, or that jack may make a book, or that 9 may make a book? You just go ahead and play that hand you dealt. The other person is taking a whole other thing. You play that hand, woo! That's a success.
That's it.
Just play the hand. You're going to get that extra book. You're going to set them from getting to Boston or the best anything, right? Just play your hand. Play your hand and make the right choices. But guess what? If you're making the wrong choices and trying to play your hand, bad things can happen.
All right. You say, tell me about that, because at one point you went something where a little bit strange that said in your life. What was that?
Well, I tell you, I went to college and I wanted to play football in college. I wanted to be in the NFL and everything. Mm-hmm. But when I got to college, I saw some things, man, that outside of Little Lake Wells, I'm like, whoa, this thing is like so awesome here. I'm playing football. I'm in Hollywood. I'm going to all the parties. I'm putting on the parties. I'm the one that everybody wants to see. Wow. But one day, the ball was hiked. The ball was fumbled. I jumped on the ball, and the rest of the team jumped on my leg. The doctor said, big boy, I'm sorry. No more football for you. You've just torn your anterior cruciate ligament. I said, oh, no. I'm going to the NFL. He said, your NFL stands for not for long, buddy. You going back home. And there I was right there. I'm going around, and here I am. I'm forgetting I got the power of choice. Here I am. I'm starting to hang out in the pig pen. I'm trying to hang out with the people drinking, hang out with the people using drugs, hang out in the wrong places, do the wrong thing. But guess what? When I was hanging out there, That wasn't my place. That wasn't where I was supposed to be. So one night I'm hanging out with some guys, and we were riding from a place. The police pulled us over. And they said, "Hey, whose vehicle is this?" And I'm proud to say it's my vehicle. It's a Chevy Nova. The man said, "Well, may I search the vehicle?" And the other guys in there were the judge's two nephews. The judge's two nephews said, "Yeah, you can search the vehicle." They searched the vehicle, and the man pulls us out. Bingo! What is this? And both of the boys did the same thing, but they looked just like Scooby-Doo. Look right at me. And the man said, "Whose drugs are these?" Next thing you know, we down to see the judge. The judge said, "Nephew, how do you plead?" He said, "Not guilty, uncle." Said, "You got a year probation." Got to the next one. "Nephew, how do you plead?" He said, "Not guilty, uncle. You got a year probation." Said, "Mr. Henderson, how do you plead?" I said, "We in the car. We family. Not guilty, uncle." He said, "You got a trial tomorrow morning." Next time we went to trial, them young men testified on me. What? I walked in the courtroom, judge said, "Mr. Henderson, do you have anything to say before I sentence you?" I said, "Not guilty, uncle." He said, "All right, nephew. You got 25 years for trafficking cocaine, 25 years for obstructing officer duties, 50 years you will do." What? Hold on, you gave me your nephew time. No, you will do. They sent me immediately to a place called Jackson, Georgia. Jackson, Georgia was death row. I'm like, man, what am I doing here in death row? Like, they took me off the bus. I guess they were trying to hide me somewhere in the system. Took me off the bus. I'm pushing a cart up and down death row, feeding the guys on death row. I'm handing out tennis shoes on death row. This is my new job. I'm locked down 50 years. I'm telling officers, you can't tell me when to get up. You can't tell me when to take a shower. You can't tell me nothing. They said, as long as you're a ward of the state, you have to do exactly what we tell you to do. Right then, that was the uh-oh moment. Uh-oh. What do I do? Call my mother? Who do I call? Call the Pope? Who do I call? Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I got 50 years. What am I going to do with it? So then I go down to I just think about the women on the do. So I heard all about this God thing, man. I heard about it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I saw my grandparents do it. I just heard about it over and over again. But then I got up and I went down to the chapel service, and I said, "Chap, I need to find out about this Jesus. I need to get out of here, man. I need to get out of here." He said, "Okay, here's a list of all of the religious services. In prison, you make your choice." So I got my religious service. I went down to the Jehovah's Witness service. I ain't got nothing against no Jehovah's Witness. I went down to the Jehovah's Witness service. The man told me 144,000 was going to heaven and it was already gone. Well, I got 25 years. They already gone. I ain't going back. So hold on. You to the south. I went down to the Catholic service and they were doing some kind of aerobics or something in there. You know what I'm saying? I said, "One of these people gonna hit me. I ain't come back in here no more." But then I went to the other religious service. I went to the Islamic service. I walked in the door and I didn't understand what was going on. I just knew they were serving extra food here. It was called Ramadan. You know what I'm saying? So I go in there and the man tell me, "Assalamu alaikum." I said, "Okay, I like the Lakers too." The man said, "You gonna go to hell for eating bacon?" I said, "I quit this too. I ain't come back here no more." So I went down there back to the chap. I said, "Chap, man, I don't understand all this religious stuff, man." He said, "Well, it ain't about religion, son. It's about a relationship, a walking, talking, vital relationship. Just you got to establish right now." So I said, "How do I get there?" He said, "Read the Bible for yourself." I said, "Man, I ain't reading no Bible. Man wrote the Bible. Man have written it, but God inspired it. Man may have written it, but God inspired it." What? So I'm reading this Bible, y'all. Check this out now. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. I'm reading this Bible, and I'm reading about this I tried to read it from the backside to the front to try to outsmart God on this man, right? So I started reading the Bible about this little man that was beat beyond recognition. And the little guy was hung on a cross, right? And he was hung there between two other prisoners, two other thieves, Keone, two other thieves, Pedro. It was 3 men on the cross. So one man said, if you really God, gonna get us down. He was mocking Jesus. But the other one said, "I know you're the Savior. Please remember me." And Jesus told him, "Today, you're gonna be with me in paradise." I said, what? He gave Jesus a chance just in case he was the Savior. Hold on, let me do it again. You missed that, Keone. You missed
Oh,
that,
I
baby.
didn't.
He gave him a chance just in case. Guess what I said? Well, I got 50 years. I'm going to give him a chance just in case. Right? Right?
Right.
Where I go, Keone? I'm doing this thing. I'm reading this, Pedro. I'm reading this Bible. I'm checking it out. I'm seeing stories about a man named Joseph, outcast from his family, sold into slavery, put into prison, and then he moved. He interpreted Pharaoh's dream, and next thing you know, he moved from the prison to the palace. What? I said he did it for him. He's good for me. So I just made my whole walk, not getting out, but getting ready to get out every day. Practicing the day what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I'm getting ready to get out every day. You should saw me. I'm going to work. I'm working all around the prison. But guess what? I got a hello for everybody. I got a God bless you for everybody. I'm just doing this thing. In my dorm, we got a Bible study at night. In my dorm at 10 o'clock, we helping guys write letters. I refuse to let my time do me. I decided to do my time. Shut up. I refuse to let my time do me. I decided to do my time. So you just saw me. My job changed, man. I'm all working in the warden's office. Everybody, officers getting prayer and everything. They're saying, wait a minute. There's something different about this Hollywood. There's something different about this James Henderson. Not these numbers 23, 77, 10, but there's something different about this guy. What? You should have saw it, man. I got more responsibilities around the prison. You should have saw it. Everything there. I got respect around the prison. The officers want prayer. Everybody wants prayer. I'm doing my thing. I'm going to. If I walk up on some guys and they using profanity and they cussing, they stop it. See, I wasn't no more selling dope deals. I'm doing hope deals now, player. What? No more dope deals, hope deals. You know what I'm saying? This thing is taking me further than anything. This serving Jesus is making me stronger than anything because I got a resource thing that I can plug into, and make it all work. Right? You should have stopped me, Keno. Pedro, check this out. So I got my whole dorm right. So the officers can't come in my dorm cussing. The officers can't come in my dorm harassing nobody. The officers got to give respect when they walk in my house, right? Because this house is my dorm. What? You heard what I said? That's where I live at. That's where my house is my home, right? So check this out. One night, a riot broke out in the prison. And you look in the windows, and they got the guards with the shields and the guard with the big sticks, and they going through and they popping guys, pop, 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 pop. Now, one thing you look at me, I'm big, I'm black, but I don't like to get hit on. You call me a coward or whatever you want, but I'm on board. I didn't come here to get changed or rearranged, player. Let me just stop this thing right now, okay? So they going through them dorms and they busting them up, right? So I tell my whole dorm, sit down. Everybody, down, down, down. I don't care if you're homosexual. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Hispanic. I said, sit down. If you tap something in this dorm and get my head busted, we're going to move some furniture in here. So everybody sat down. Y'all should have saw. They came to the door. Dorm 13, on the ground now. I said to the warden, we ain't tear your dorm up. He said, who was that? I said, Henderson, work up in the office. And then we tear your dorm up. He looked in there and said, why y'all sitting down? And they said, the white, the black, Hispanic, everybody. Big James told us to sit down. They got their word to the governor. The governor said, wait a minute, one man stopped the riot? We got to get rid of him. Because he told him to sit down, he can tell him how to get up.
Oh, you know what? Wait, hold on.
That's usually what we look at. Well, if you can
right. One man control his whole thing. This man, he only been here 18 months. 18 months on 50 years. We got to get rid of this boy. So hold on.
Jay, hold on. Hold on, James. I want to cut in for a second. Because Pedro, how many years were you a correctional officer and counselor in prison?
Counselor. Pedro was a counselor.
Yeah. I was a counselor for 5-6 years, but in total, I worked 27 years in prison.
Yeah, he was also a lieutenant. He was also Pedro on one of the episodes was talking about how he could identify those prisoners, and he sees them. He's like, this person needs to be back out in society, and they're gonna do well. And he could identify those ones where I'm gonna see him again. And so when you saw somebody like James, Pedro, from what he's describing, what would have went through your head?
I just would have watched him. James, how tall are you?
6'5".
So he's 6'5". He's always going to stand out, don't matter where he's at. Especially around other people. He's going to stand out. He's a big guy. He's big all the way around. But his attitude, and what comes out of his mouth would have been the appropriate thing. Because just watching, and you can tell the difference, especially when they're walking, when they're moving, the confidence, how they speak, all those things come together, and you see it. You'd be like, that's when you start seeing it. I had one guy that he just made me think about that. He had he had a pretty long sentence, and he would done some paperwork, but all he did, the change on him was the faith that he had, the change was going to come. And it was just out of nowhere. We still don't know. We still, in the unit, a lot of us could not figure out how his sentence got shortened and he got immediate release. And this was before some of the immediate release was coming in big time. He got an immediate release, and we were like, where did that come from? He said, that was my faith.
Well, Pedro,
it was written for me to get out. And I was like, But then I thought about it, yes, and it had a lot to do because he changed. It was his change, and you can tell the change on a man, and when it's a true change, because you can tell, James, you've been locked up, you've seen those guys that come and talk to you, and they talk about change, but you don't see the change.
Well, see, the thing, Pedro, what you're talking about is a man that can make their mouth say anything. Mm-hmm. A man that can make their mouth say anything. See, when you looked at me in the prison, you say that's something different. A lot of officers say, what you doing locked up, man? You're so positive. You ain't acting like you locked up. Why you sad? Why you ain't? Because, I'm not letting my environment dictate my personality. I'm not letting my environment dictate the power God has put inside of me. See, when I read that Bible and I found out that I was made in the image of God. Watch this, y'all. Not just an X and a Y chromosome, but in the image of God. And then the next thing I'm seeing, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Now I ain't got to know who my pimp daddy is in New England because I know who my father is, right? And once you know whose you are, then you know who you are. Y'all didn't hear me. You didn't hear what I just said. Once you know whose you are, then you know who you are. So then when you know who you are, you start walking within that authority. I am royalty, brother. I'm priesthood material. So when I walk that walk, not only just talk that talk, see, the worst thing you can do is talk the talk and not be ready to walk the walk.
I get that a lot, yes.
And see, you hear a lot of people run their mouth, but then they're in the dorm stealing. They're in the dorm, whatever they're doing in the dorm, right? But I want my view, I want you to see me just as I was. When you see James, you saw the man in the building, in the dorm, in the parking lot, in the bathroom. You saw the man. You didn't see no fake. So as I was going through this whole thing now, and they said, and the governor said, wait, we got to get rid of him. Because this guy, he just like he can stop a riot, he can start a riot. So in the middle of the night, they said, Henderson, pack it up, you're shipping out. I said, man, I ain't starting no riot. Why y'all shipping me out? He said, you going to the making transition center. You're going to the halfway house. I said, man, I ain't doing 18 months on 50 years. How am I going to a halfway house? I said the crazy thing, how? When God's in the plan, how ain't none of my business? They called me and said, pack your stuff up. I said, I ain't got none. Get your underwear. I said, they contraband. I'm ready to go.
Let's go now. If you take it, let's go.
Right. I'm walking in the favor, brother. I'm walking in the favor. I'm looking at that Psalm 1. What it say? Blessed is the man that walketh not into the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of the sinner, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord. In his law doth he meditate day and night. And he should be like a tree planted by the river, and his leaves shall not wither. And whatsoever he doeth, he shall prosper. Let me ask you something. If I ain't walking, standing, or sitting in the wrong place, and my mind is on God, and he can trust me enough to plant me somewhere, oh my God. He trusts me enough to plant me somewhere. I'm like a beacon light. So whoever comes around, they gotta see the same thing every time, because if not, I'm a fake there. And there I am right there at that beacon light where God can trust me. And that's all. That's what I had to do is earn God's trust. God, you can trust me. God, you can trust me. God, you can trust me. So he sent me to the halfway house. I'm working at the halfway house. I'm working at a place called Chicken, Kegel's Chicken. I'm there kicking chicken. I'm hanging chickens first. And then they say, hey, you want a job? How long you going to be here? I said, as long as you need me. They gave me a job on a yard maintenance. Gave me a truck and 2 men. So my yard stay clean. It's just hard, man. I'm moving around the yard doing my thing. And next thing you know, my counselor shows up and said, James, you got to release. You can release here. I said, how I do this? Blessings just kept blowing and flowing as they went along. I got a full pardon, bruh. A full pardon. Full pardon in the state of Georgia. They gave me a full pardon. Bro, I went down there to the next college I found. It was Mercer University, an all-white college. Walked in there, I said, I want to go to school. And the lady said, well, we have a job in the gym. If you work in the gym, you take 2 free classes. Deal. I started working in the gym, man, taking these classes because I wanted to finish my degree, right? Finish my degree. Next thing you know, I finished my degree, and next thing you know, man, I'm turning around and a guy came in the weight room, said, hey, man, you need to be on the United States powerlifting team. I'm like, what? I just been to prison. He said, doesn't matter, man. We know you got a pardon. I said, what? The United States powerlifting team? I said, how do I do that? He said, you got to make the lift and pass the drug test. I said, no, man, that Hollywood stuff is over for me.
What year was that?
1994, 1993. I said, man, that Hollywood stuff over for me, man. I just want to work. I want to get my degree. I don't want all that Hollywood stuff. No, he said, no, man. You need to be on the United States powerlifting team. You got a little guy that grew up with you named Chuck Brunson. He said you one of the strongest men he ever met, man. You need to be on the team. I'm like, man, I really don't want all this fancy stuff. It's all you got to do is make the lift, pass the drug test. So sponsors start coming to me and saying, hey, why don't you get on the United States powerlifting team? We'll sponsor you. So I went to Parkersburg, West Virginia for the tryout. I walked in there and I benched 622, 633, and the guy that he benched 644. But when they tested him for drugs, he was full of steroids. So they suspended him. And that was my first trip to Finland. I'm sitting there, man, I'm going to Finland, and I got a chance to be the world champion. So I go to Finland, and the coach on the United States team tell me, we just need you to get as many points as possible. We really don't need you. We need you to get the bronze medal, as many points as possible. I said, wait a minute. The guy that got me here, my sponsor, I think they want a gold medal. He said, son, you got to do what the politics stand for. We just want you to get a bronze medal.
Right.
Bro, I came here to get the gold medal.
So you came to win. You didn't came
to win. So you
right.
The first man from Finland went 578. Amsterdam went 588. Germany missed his list. I came in with a 644 and got my first world champion. I called home and said, Mom, I am now the world champion. I had to prove to her that I wasn't just some jailbird or another black man with a story. I was prove to her that she did not make a mistake with me. So I went on from there to Finland, to Czechoslovakia, to Amsterdam, to Germany, and back to Canada. I am now the 5-time world champion, 5-time national champion. I'm the first man in history to lift over 700 pounds without any drugs or fancy equipment.
What year was that? I know they're going to want to know. What year was that you did the 700 pounds?
Oh, I did 1997.
So you've been in a circuit by then, what, 3 years or so by the time you hit that weight?
Say it again now.
You've been doing the circuit by 3 years by then.
Right, yes, right. I was on the power team on TBN. I mean, I got a chance to get on the power team on TBN. In the power team on TBN, I was going to every little city going to the schools, going to the prison, breaking ice, tearing phone books, breaking handcuffs, breaking bats, bending bars, bending frying pans, and I had to lift 700 every Sunday night, 46 weeks out of the year.
Whoa, how long did you do that for? How long were you doing
I
it?
was on the power team about 8 years. I was on the power team about 8 years.
Okay. Right now, tell me about what you're doing now, because you're doing a lot of things right now with.
Right now, I'm just still going to schools and prisons and juvenile homes. You know, I get to go out to California, go in all the prisons and see all the gangs, the Crips, the Bloods, the OG50s, all the gangs out there. And the gangs, they request me to come and tell them the story of hope. They request me to come and tell them the story of hope.
And that's a powerful thing that you have, you know, with you. The change. You have 50 years that you were dragging on your back.
Right.
That's, you know, and a lot of guys, I've seen a lot of guys that get that when that gavel by the judge hits, and you start making the numbers and you start realizing, oh my God, I got 50 years. I've seen men change. I've seen men crumble. They come back.
That's the individual, Pedro, where the time is doing them instead of them doing the time. When the time dictates your behavior, dictates your personality, dictates your drive for success, when time dictates that, then you are not doing your time is doing you.
Right. And you didn't allow that to happen. You just,
no, sir.
Right up the top. I mean, you were like, I'm gonna figure this out.
Yeah, I have too many examples around me of individuals that will let the time do them. They are in the DR court, disciplinary court. They are in fights. They move from dorm to dorm. They are professional victims. There's always somebody. It's woe is me stories over and over again. You heard it, Pedro.
Look, that's being mentally defeated. And from the story that you're telling, like if you have someone that actually committed a crime and got caught, and then they're complaining about their circumstances and how they got there, how you got there is irrelevant. We get it. Maybe you had a bad childhood. Maybe you had the disadvantages. But now in anything in life, what are you going to do about it now?
Yeah, what kind of bad choice did I make? And
right.
How can I straighten this up? You got young people, Keone, they're dealing with Flacker, Kush, Dirty Sprite. They're dealing with all these drugs in society. They're dealing with they're dealing with social media. They're dealing with all this stuff. And they have to utilize their power of choice, because if not, time will be doing them. They'll be a victim of their own circumstance.
Yeah, because you could have been easily defeated knowing that the stuff wasn't yours, knowing that the people that were you were related to the judge, and you got railroaded. And you could have easily went into a woe is me, I got written off, this is a bad rap, and just gone, and you'd still be in jail right now.
Well, I'd be a professional victim.
Yeah.
I'd be a professional victim with the woe is me story. Like, who really wants to hear that? Like, who's really, I see guys, if you go to a prison, like Brother Pedro has been there, and you go to the dorm, you hear how everybody got writ, habeas corpuses, all their legal papers, and they're all telling how they were railroaded. And they're all telling how they were done wrong. And they're all telling they won't blame it on the white man, on the black man, on the system, on the county, on the state. They all are telling you everything that went wrong. But if you take time and look for what went right, I still got my life. I still got a chance to make the right choices.
You created that in your mind. You knew that you had a chance. You had another way to go, make that change. You made that switch. You stuck with it, and you went in that route.
Right.
So that made, and you've seen it. You spent enough time working with some guys. But my question also, anybody that really, I know you went and talked to the chaplain, but anybody that when you got there, they kind of mentored you, or anybody that you just really, they gave you
like a prisoner, another prisoner or a guard when you got there.
I got to tell you the truth. I became somewhat of a professional at a very young age. When you don't have a father at home, there was a man that owned Chick-fil-A. He wrote a book. It's better to build a boy than to mend a man. So in our community, I had Mr. Willie Henry like go fishing. In our community, I had my strength of my grandfather. In our community, with different men, Coach Nathan Minton, cousins, and different people. And I learned how to pull nuggets from each one of those men. And when I pulled those nuggets, those things were an essential part of my personality or my survival package. You know, when I was young, I tried to get into Boy Scouts. And they gave you this thing that a scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Yes. They give you all these little nuggets, right? And you didn't learn, and you take some from each one of these nuggets. A scout is, on my honor, I do my best to do my duty to guard my country, keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, morally straight. You pick up nuggets along the way. So when you get to prison, you can pick up a nugget here and a nugget there, but only pick up the strength things those guys got to offer. Because when they turn to a victim, they could drag you into the same pig pen. And you don't want to be in the same pig pen with the same excuse. So what you want to do is pick up the nuggets that are good and leave the stuff behind that's going to weigh you down. So that's what I did. It wasn't no one man. It was Mr. Adams that was in there. Mr. Adams had been in there, and he was in the law library every week. There was Mr. Jones in there. He was the dorm. He was the house man in the dorm. He kept it clean and ran it straight. There was other people that didn't get DRs, and other ones that read their Bible, and other ones that was practicing today for who they wanted to be tomorrow. So it wasn't just no one man. It was the system itself. What the system had to produce. She owned it. I asked myself one night, me and God having a talk, right? So I said, God said, Big James? I said, yes, sir. He said, where does the world keep all of its treasures at? I said, vault, safe deposit boxes. Then I got smart with God. I said, where you keep your treasures at? He said, my treasures are locked up also. They could have been dead and gone, but they're right here locked up also. And I want them to use everything the devil taught them back against them to lead their family, their friends, their loved ones, and their enemies. You're one of my treasures. You're one of my treasures.
What I also hear from you in everything that you're saying, and a lot of people, I won't say a lot of people, I'm not going to be that cynical, but there is a problem with people in that word self-accountability. Accountability. It doesn't even matter if it's about crime, relationships, issues with family, issues at your job. There are a lot of people that anytime I have something going on in my life, the first thing I've learned to do is say, what was my role in causing this?
Right.
What did I do?
What's my responsibility?
Right.
What's my responsibility? Now in the Bible, Keone, they call that reconciliation. That's where you recognize where your physical stops and the spiritual begins. And when you recognize your physical weakness, then your spiritual carries on. Then you have God to rely on. See, in every man's life, he has to, and if you have a relationship with someone else, you have to determine what your common denominator is. Is your car? Is your home? Is your money? What is it, right? My common denominator in my life is Jesus Christ. Because at every point, every one of these points I'm at, he's the core. He's the foundation. And if I return back to Jesus Christ, then there's only options, ain't no out.
Gotcha. Pedro, I had to, this is the price of running a production company from your apartment. Maintenance knocked on my door. So I don't know if you got to the power team yet, because I wanted to ask you about that, because I remember, and everybody who knows me knows, and I love what you said earlier about it's not about a religion, it's about a relationship, because people get very annoyed when I told them the fact that I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, I believe in God, I talk to God myself, and that's the way I'm dealing with it. And that annoys a lot of people who are religious, and I tell them it's not your job to be annoyed, you know.
Well, a big
But
thing is
but
CUNY,
mhm.
is
But
you're not religious,
mhm.
but I have a walking, talking, vital relationship with you.
There you go.
I'm
And
not I'm
so
not I'm not religious because religion is man's best effort to communicate with God.
but I want to
Man,
ask you this
that's
question because I stopped going to church a long time ago. I think I was like 12 or something, and I wasn't really paying attention to anything godly or anything like that when I was a teenager. But my teacher took me to see the Power Team.
yes.
When I saw that picture, and this was 19, I want to say 92. So and I saw them, and that was the first time I enjoyed in so long hearing anything resembling religion or God. Talk to me about how you got on the Power Team and what was that like?
Well, the big thing about the Power Team was I came to Miami. I got married to my college sweetheart because we had a baby. We had a baby in college, so I didn't want my child to grow up without a father. So I got back into her life, and then me and my college sweetheart, we put things together, and we've been together now 27 years. But here one night, she was on watching TBN, and they were announcing the strongest man in the world. She pulled out one of my magazines, and she wrote on it, and she wrote him a letter, Mr. John Jacob, you're wrong. My husband is the strongest man in the world. So he called me to Tennessee for an interview. He said, I see you lift weights and everything. How would you like to be part of the Power Team? I said, I got to pray about that. And I prayed about that. Next thing you know, I'm on the Power Team. And I'm on the Power Team, and I'm traveling like 3 weeks out of every month. I'm going to all the big cities. I'm going to all the big cities across America. And they hired me, TBN, with part of the backing of the Power Team. They hired me to lift 700 every Sunday night for 46 weeks out of the year. I would have a 5-minute thing. And I said, how many people out there are 135 pounds or less? And they raised their hand. How many people out there are 225 or less? And they raised their hand. And I say, boom, I lifted it. Jesus lifted the weight of sin off of all of you. Now, how many people out there are 400 pounds or less? And they raised their hand. And I lifted that. Boom! Jesus lifted the weight of sin off of you. I said, now let's not waste any more time. How many people out there are 700 pounds or less? Raise your hand, because I don't want any excuses tonight. I don't want any reason why you can't be this altar. I don't want any reason why you can't give Jesus a chance in your life. I don't want any reason why he died for your sin. You can't accept what he's done. So anybody 700 pounds or less, raise your hand. Huh. Now, if this 700 pounds go down and come back up, I want you to hear this altar. I want you to hear this altar because Jesus lifted the weight of sin off of you and me. Now, if I miss it, don't count my failure because Jesus' success has already been done. He died, went to the grave, rose again. He even asked the Father, forgive them, they know not what they've done. So you have been forgiven. And all I'm asking you to do is to accept your free gift of salvation. Are you ready? They say yes. Are you ready? I say yes. And I lay on that bench and I put my hands on that bar and I press it to the top. God just get it up. Bam! And the altars are full. 700 pounds. People at the altars.
That's a show.
Right?
Wow,
That's what you call throwing the net. Right? So throwing that net to catch as many as possible. And every Sunday night I'll do it. And then, I'm going to tell you what happened one time. We're in Dallas, Texas, and we're in a restaurant. And who do I see across the restaurant? Woo! My favorite friend. I'm the biggest fan of this guy, Chuck Norris.
Okay.
I went over to his table. I said, Chuck, I'm your biggest fan. When you was in Long Wolf McQuade, and they buried you in the ground, they buried me too. Every fight you've been in, I've been there too. I'm your biggest fan. He said, wow, who are you? I said, I'm Big James Henderson from the Power Team. We break bricks, we lift weights, we tear phone books, we bend pans. Oh man, we just tear. Well, we just break bats, we bend bars. Woo! We have a program at the North Church, and I want you to be my guest. And Chuck Norris said, I'll be there. I said, I got a place up front for you. Don't be late, because I'm going to break a brick phone book. Woo! I'm going to have a great time. And I got a chance to tell my testimony that night. Tell my testimony. He came in there. He sat down there with the kids. We broke bricks. We visited. We lift weights. We gave an altar call, and Chuck came to the altar. I'm like, wow. But then check this out right here. Next couple of weeks, he called and said, hey, Big James, were those bricks real that you guys broke? I said, yes, sir. He said, I want you to come to Dallas tomorrow. I'm going to send a plane for you. We're going to shoot an episode on my Texas Walker Ranger. Called the Principal.
That's what. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here for hours like, wait, because I've never seen you before till today.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here all the time like, I didn't see him on the party, but I saw him somewhere.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It said, Big James, break the wall down. Are you ready to break the wall down? Drugs, alcohol, negative peer pressure, bullying, sin. Yes. Yeah. There's no wall that stands between you and God. No wall that stands between you and God. Jesus already tore it down. He already tore it down. Yeah.
Wow. That's
yeah. So when I started seeing, so we went to preach at Bishop Jake's church. So I followed him around, Keone and Pedro. I followed him around, and I said, Bishop, if you want me to move to Texas to be a part of your church, I will. He looked at me. I said, he must have didn't hear what I said. Let me do it again. Bishop, if you want me to move here to Texas to be part of your church, I will. He looked at me again. I said, what is wrong with this guy? No, he ain't deaf. So my wife got there that weekend, and I said to him again, Bishop, here's my beautiful wife. If you want me to move here to Texas to be a part of your church, I will. He said, son, you can come here and visit anytime you want. You come here and do meetings for me. But when it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. I can't be responsible for you. I can't be responsible for you. God got something bigger than I can ever imagine. I'm like, what? This man rejected me? A man rejected me? My father? Now Bishop Jake? No. He was telling me that I had a voice inside the prison. I had a voice inside the juvenile home. I had a voice inside the school. He wasn't going to lock me down there just to preach to people in the congregation. He said, go to the pro team. Go to the football team. Go use the voice that God has given you. Then his assistant with Miss Rita Twiggs, she said, now, never envy another man's anointing because God has one for you of your own.
That's powerful.
So, Keone, I've just been riding in the anointing God has given me and praying that I stay on the right track. Because I stay on the right track, I'll be the right person at the right place, doing the right thing. Ready to be blessed.
Well, there's been a great conversation. Okay,
Time flies, doesn't it? One of these shows, we don't even realize an hour goes by. Almost.
It's been a whole hour already.
Almost.
It's just amazing. The whole story of where you come from and everything you've done and everything you're doing, because you continue to do this. This is what makes you special. This is what makes you unique. This is what makes you that powerful voice of God, or that's driving you. That drive that you have right now, I can hear it in your voice. It's not stopping no time soon.
Right.
So you got a lot of work to do, but I'm amazed. And those little details, those things about, and that's so true. Just take the nuggets that are really going to help you. Leave the other ones behind because they're weighing you down. Moving on is so important. Making that change in your mind that, hey, I am not going to be the victim. That's what I see a lot of people. And when you make that switch and when you realize that you are the one that can make the change. You are everything. You don't need nothing else. You are the one that have to make the change. Everybody else is expecting things to change around them, or this have to change, this person have to do this. No, it's all about you, and you made that change right then and there when it was necessary. You picked up, you picked up your cross. You're dragging it. You know it was, and this is what it is, and I'm going to keep walking with it. I'm going to climb this mountain. And I'm going to have other climbing with me. But if they don't climb it, that's fine. I'm still going to keep going. And I'm sure I'm going to have some other people come right along.
That was Pedro's. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Pedro's final thoughts. I'm going to give mine. Then we're going to do a thing where we love to let our guests.
I got some final thoughts.
No, James. That's what I was saying. I'm going to give my final thought. And what we're going to do is we're going to because usually Pedro is the ending, but we're going to let our guests in on the final thoughts. And then Pedro will see us out. Before I give my final thoughts, I want to show the intro again, get everybody hyped for our next episode. So if you haven't seen it from the beginning, here it is again. All right, and we're back, and I usually give a really good lengthy final thought because I love to talk, but I'm going to be a little short today so I can give more time to the guests. My final thoughts are, I want to stick on the word accountability, and I'm just speaking to everybody. I don't care if you're Muslim, Christian, Catholic, atheist, Scientologist, whatever you are. There is no excuse for you not to be accountable and effectively have a positive impact on society and the people around you. There is never an excuse as a human being not to be positive. If you have had a bad past, if you had a bad childhood, there are ways to get it turned around. Everyone out here has a story. Everyone out here has a story. And some of the most successful people in the world, you wouldn't think of the horrors or the things that have happened to them over their life. If I just met James today off the street and we were having a conversation, I would have had no idea he went to prison for 2 years. I would have no idea he was riding around with drugs in his car, even though they weren't his. I wouldn't have known all these things. So we got to make sure that we just do better as a people, but always look for yourself and be accountable for your actions. And that's the way you're going to turn your life around if it needs turning around. James.
Well, you say weren't my drugs, but I may not have been guilty of that certain situation, but I was guilty of other things. I wasn't some little angel that just caught, because the web of deception is very, very dangerous. Okay, so my final thoughts are: I think of my man named Paul in the Bible, and Paul said to God, I want to be perfect. I need you to remove this thorn from my side. Keone, Pedro, what's that thorn? It's drugs, alcohol, it's lying now and then. What is that thorn? But God says, no, I'm not going to remove that thorn because my grace is sufficient. My grace is all you need. When you get ready to lose, I'll help you win. When you get ready to fall, I'll help you up. My grace is sufficient. What God was saying in street terms, I want you to need me. God creates in each one of us the need for a savior. The need for a savior. And you mentioned a couple things, psychology and different things, and you are a sum total of all your experiences. So when I talk to a guy, I don't knock religion when he's in. I don't knock religion. I just ask him, how's that working for him? How's that working for you? If you should die right now, where would you go? Because 100 years on this earth is not one day in eternity. And eternity is too long to be wrong. So just like I just told you guys today, I gave Jesus a chance just in case he was the Savior. I didn't know. I just gave him a chance. And every day he proves himself to me every day. If it was just for breath, strength, my children, James Jr., Demecia, Shawana, my beautiful wife, my dogs, whatever. He just proves to me his presence every day. Because I see my children walking the walk, not just talking the talk. Yeah, we make mistakes. So we get that thorn in our side. But we have God to rely on, to ask him to forgive us for our bad choices and to keep us on the right track. So we're the right person at the right place at the right time, ready to be blessed. So whatever you're into, if it's working for you, believe in it. Take it all the way out. But if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of all the trials and tribulations, all the ups and downs, I just ask you to give Jesus a chance, just in case he can change your whole presence and your destiny. Just in case. And it's one day at a time. It's me doing 50 years, one day at a time. You can't do more than one day at a time. Just give him a chance, just in case. And I promise you, he will not fail you. He may not give you what you want, but you'll realize he gives you exactly what you need. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, James. Thank you, Keone.
A lot, right?
It's a lot. It's a lot. Yesterday is yesterday. Yesterday's past. Tomorrow is future. You're not granted to it. Today is what you have to live. So one day at a time. You are so right, James. It's been a pleasure having you here today. It's been a pleasure meeting you, James. Your words of inspiration in the stories. I know you got more stories. I can't even imagine how many more stories you got.
A million, zillion, billion.
We could probably spend another couple hours here just talking about it.
Sure could. That's right. That's right.
But it's been a blessing. So to close out, I would say to all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting On the Count. Thank you, Keone Production. Thank you, James. Also, came to mind any stories that anybody want to share, please, you can send us also an email to onthecount.podcast@gmail.com. So that's another way to contact us and give some stories, because there are many stories out there, and we definitely want to bring them into the public, let other people hear your stories, and that's what we're here for. Everybody, have a great rest of your day. Be blessed. Be safe.
God bless.
Have a great day.